This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Band. You're like, what? This guy ain't no Christian. Oh, I tell you, man, it drives me nuts. The people and what, like the Pharisees we read yesterday, where they're like, oh, he's washing his, he didn't wash his hands. That just drives me nuts how people, you know, like you put you in a box and make you got to be this. You're in here. If you come outside of here, you're not a Christian. Run from those people. Ignore them. Welcome to Misfit Island. We are Taco Tuesday. Taco Tuesday is where I'm going to add some meat to those bones. We are a Milk for Babes channel, Misfit Island. We come here to seek truth through the Word of God. Welcome, family. Welcome to my island. And, yep, I see that you took the red pill. So, welcome. Let's go down the rabbit hole. Last week, I went over my favorite book in the Bible, which is the book of Revelation. And I did the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and I, gave you my just taking things logically of what's actually going to take place on earth. I gave you my view of why I believe there's at least a 70-year, if not a 40-year gap in between the rapture and the actual last 7 years where God's going to judge mankind. And I didn't get to finish because I was going to read the whole chapter 6. So we're going to go back to that revelation. The revelation of Jesus, where he gave it to his angel to go talk to John on the island of Patmos to signify, through signs and wonders and miracles to give us the ending of this incredible love story. Remember the beginning? We talked about Genesis 6. Genesis 3, actually the creation. Genesis 2, Adam's the gardener in the garden. Eve was created for him. The woe man in Genesis 3:15. Eve's was deceived, and Adam sins, brought sin to the world. God punished, cursed Adam, Eve, Satan, the earth. The creation is under a curse right now. Excuse me. And Genesis 3:15, the seed war. You got the 3 rebellions. Genesis 6, the rebellion of the angelic realm, and the hybrid race. And then you got Genesis 10:11, where it was told to go out throughout the world and populate the world, and they all gathered in one place in the Tower of Babel, said no, and refused, denied what God, we're gonna do what we want to do. And God dispersed them in the 70 nations, and the sons of God was taking favor. I read the Psalms about that, and the sons of God was taking favor over the evil ones, teaching them how to use their metals and their, the things of the world to corrupt mankind. And God said He'll judge them. These sons of God and these watchers are going to judge them. Like, some of them are cast into this holding place where they're going to be released during the book of Revelation to judge mankind. So after the rapture happens, this supernatural world is going to be opened up, and this angelic realm, I believe, is going to be back on earth again. And that's why it says, when these things happen, that even if the elect, and he's talking like the Apostle Paul and me, I consider myself elect because I'm full of the Holy Spirit and I know what's going on. It says even if we were here, we would be deceived. So whatever's coming, it's going to be. I mean, I would imagine. I mean, the books I read and the people that study this and spend their life studying this, I would believe it's going to be a combination of a bunch of things, but it's going to be angelic, it's going to be demonic, it's going to be chimera, it's going to be technical, the technical revolution, it's going to be alien involved. I would imagine they're going to say that they seed planted mankind on earth, and they're here to they are God, and they're the ones that's going to, there's going to be some kind of lie that the world is going to, you've seen the book of Revelation, that they're like, this guy's going to rise up out of these. You're going to have these 10 kings that's come up that doesn't have their land now, so it's not 10 nations because it says they don't have any land. These 10 kings are going to rise up, and the little horn's going to rise up from them, and the world's going to be marveled because they're going to kill him, and he's going to be resurrected from the dead, and you're going to have all these demonic beings coming out of this pit, and they're going to sting mankind and torture them for 5 months, and mankind's not going to be able to die. So I would imagine during this gap period, something's going to happen where they're actually going to make it where man can't die. I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of computer chips or some kind of miracle pill, or maybe these angelic beings, or they they take something that they can't die, or something. That's a strange verse to read, actually. It says that they want to die and they can't. So, but anyways, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Anyways, chapter 6, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. We left off at you ready for some meat? Taco Tuesday. It's my favorite meal. I love chicken tacos, and my wife can make some killer chicken tacos. But anyways, we left off at the 4th seal and the 5th seal. So remember I told you, I gave you all the breakdown of what it's going to be. I think what it's going to, when the rapture happens and what's going to take place on earth. And I gave you an example of the Twin Towers and the train wreck in Ohio, the street light of my city, the ship that ran into the bridge, which good and evil. I believe that was done on purpose, and they're seeing how they can. They're killing the cows, they're killing the chickens, they're meat factory plants are exploding. Everything that sustains mankind to help us live, they're destroying it all. So yeah, it's on, man. It's on. I think COVID, something was released, and but anyways, it's going to be crazy chaos. And then remember the white horse, the guy comes in and he's trying to fix things. I said all the Christians said, oh, that was the rapture, and this guy's not legit, and this is what's going to happen. Well, and then go through the 4 horsemen, and the white one is trying to solve the problem. It doesn't work. The black one, the red one, comes in and says he's given power to kill people. And he's got a great sword. And the black horse, he's got the scales where they're going to try to starve people to death. Control us with food. Don't harm the oil and the wine. Which most people teach us, the rich people. I don't know. I feel like it's something more deeper than that. But and then the pale horse comes along, and it's 2 riders on that, Death and Hades, and they're giving them power over the 4th of the earth. They kill with the sword, they kill with hunger, they kill with death. or with death, and by the beast of the earth. And like I said, Chuck Missler always said that not all beasts are like lions, tigers, and bears. That there's actually some beasts are viruses, and I mean, since COVID, you can definitely see what they're doing with that, and that's not over. That's not over. So they're going to continue with that, and then during this time, it's going to be even worse. I mean, it says a fourth of the earth. Some people say think there's power over them. It says that they're going to kill them with the sword, hunger, death, and beasts of the earth. They're going to kill a fourth of the earth, and I don't know how many people are going to go in the rapture. I don't know what's going to take place. These three horsemen before them, but by then, say there's like almost by the 9 billion people on the earth. Say a billion are gone, and they try to kill a fourth. I mean, what is that? 2 billion people? Think about that. 2 billion people. How long is that going to take to get rid of these people? Bury them. I mean, how long did it take to kill 6 million and Hitler to kill 6 million? I don't know. Was that 7 years? I don't know. And people, this is all going to happen in 7 years. Nope. I don't see it. Maybe it's possible. I may be wrong. But anyways, let's continue on. The fifth seal, the cry of the martyrs. So Jesus is in heaven. I think John's taken from earth. So remember, he's seen these, come and see, come and see, come and see. I think now he's back in heaven. His memory says, well, I didn't tell you, but in verse 4 it says that after these things, what was after the 7 letter 7 churches, the church age. Remember, so there's 4 ways that you can break down the 7 letter 7 churches. The church age. After these things, the church is over, and he's in now. Said like a typology. It says he looked, and behold, a door standing open in heaven, and his first voice which he heard was like a trumpet speaking with me, saying, "Come up here." The rapture. I will show you things which must take place after this. After what? After the church history, the church age. Immediately, he was in the spirit. So his body was still in Patmos. He was in the spirit. He's in heaven now. His spirit is going back over, and he's back in heaven now at the fifth seal. So verse 9, Revelation 6, verse 9, when he opened this fifth seal, Jesus opens the fifth seal. I saw under the altar. Remember, we've seen over in chapter 4, and he sees the 24 elders, and he sees the 24 elders. He sees the 4 living creatures around the throne. The throne is like an emerald. The Father's in the middle of the throne, and they're all throwing their casting. Or here, I don't know if they cast their things there yet. There's lightnings and thunders and voices, and 7 lamps were burning before the throne, which are the 7 spirits of God. And it says, before, verse 6 in chapter 4, before the throne there was a sea of glass like crystal. So he sees this sea of glass, which if you look at, sea, when you look at sea, usually, like I said, there's mountains, words that mean things like trees and mountains and the sword and the oil, the wine. Well, when you see the sea, it's usually talking about the people, the masses of people. And it's crystal clear right now. It's like crystal in verse 4. So now we're over here, judgment's happening. They're killing the Christians because the rapture happened, and they're out there, they're telling them that, the rapture happened. And so these writers, these levels of writers, come and see. I think these writers, remember the red horse is killing everybody, and the green horse is killing them with hunger and death, and the beast and the thing. So now he opens the fifth seal. We're back in heaven. And he says, he opened the fifth seal. I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. So now all these people that was killed after the rapture, during the tribulation saints, some of them, they're not all dead yet, but all the people that's been killed up to this point, John sees them under the altar. And he says, for the testimony which they held. So what was their testimony? Remember I said in chapter 1, or the rapture happens, and they're like, no, whatever they're, I don't know if the lie starts right then and there. The people of the world, these leaders, or this angelic realm is trying to tell the lie happens right then and there, and they're like, no, this was the rapture. The Christians were right. Oh, they're gonna. I couldn't imagine if the rapture happened, I was left behind because I know what's going to happen. But anyways. Their testimony is that, and these guys killed them before their testimony. Now they're in heaven. And they're asking, how long, or they're saying this, and they cried with a loud voice, saying, "How long, O Lord, holy and true, until you judge and avenge our blood of those who dwell on the earth?" And from this point on, so the church is gone, the Christians, the bride of Christ, we're gone. He's not going to beat up the Christ, or beat up the bride, make him go through. Remember, Lot had to be pulled out before he could judge Sodom and Gomorrah. He's not going to beat up the bride part of the way and then take her for a couple, whatever, and then come right back. No. We're already out of here. These people are died during this time. And he's saying, "How before you avenge our blood," saying, "dwell on the earth." So from there on out, everybody's on the earth. It's like, we need to save the planet. Or they start believing this lie. He calls them earth dwellers. I look at people today, and the people that are, I'm driving my Prius, and I want to save the country. This is earth dwellers. They're earth dwellers. If you believe in the lie that mankind's going to save the planet, and we're destroying the planet, that we have the power to destroy it and save it, they're earth dwellers. They're being ripped off. They're being ripped off. You imagine the day when they're on their knee in front of the Lord, and they realize that they've been ripped off all that anger, the river, the sea. All this debased mind chaos, and they're finally in the throne room of God, and they're before Jesus on their knee, and they're like, and they realize they've been ripped off their whole life, and Jesus is real, and they proclaim he is God, and then Jesus says, "I don't know you, get out of here," and they're cast in hell forever. Whew. You ever had something in your life that you believed or you was passionate about or something, and then you found out the truth? I don't know, maybe it was when you was a kid and your parents lied about Santa Claus. I don't know. It was like a gut punch. And it just made you sick because you realized that you've been lied to, or it was a lie. And I couldn't even imagine that. That's why I pray for everybody that I know and love. I pray for them. I pray that the Lord will touch their heart, and because well, if they're still here and the rapture happens, then maybe they'll be a part of this group right here. You pray for that. The tribulation saints is a total different group of people, and their existence after death is totally different than us. We reign and rule with the Lord, at least for 1,000 years. So verse 11 says, so they ask, the people revenge their blood, and it says, then a white robe was given to each of them, and it was said to them that they should rest a little while longer until both the number of their fellow servants and their brethren who would be killed as they were was completed. So this is just the first group of people. It's going to go all the way up until there's a part where it says that he shuts the heaven up and nobody else can come in. So who dies up to that point? There's no more. I guess people are going to escape all this. They're going to be able to hide or something. So let's go ahead and read the sixth seal. Might get into the book of Luke before we're over. But hey, we need some meat, right? It's Taco Tuesday. Come on, Taco Tuesday, we need meat. So verse 12, it says, I looked, and when he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became like blood, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth, and as a fig tree dropped late figs when it is shaken by a mighty wind. I remember talking about the words like, the sword and the mountains and all that, and a lot of times the stars is like the angels. So is the angels like at this point cast out of heaven? Is this when that war goes on and they're cast down here? Some people believe it's literal stars. Something's going to happen. The sun's going to become black, and maybe this war affects the sun and the moon somehow. But it says these stars fall to the earth. Now, is literal star? Stars, come on. The stars that we know, they're going to fall to the earth now. One of those stars actually came from where it's at and fell, would destroy the planet completely. So I think these stars is this angelic war that's going on. And now you're going to have some heavy duty stuff going on the planet. angelic realm, and it's going to be deep. It's going to be scary. But anyways, it says the sky receded as a scroll rolled up in every mountain. So this one guy was teaching, because they believe this is just 7 years, and there's another part where the mountains are completely gone. He's like, oh, this is what happens back then. And the guy's got his name, I forgot his name, but his channel is Soothkeep. And I was listening to him. He said he read this. And I was like, ooh, wow, that's I need to go back and read that, because that's a good point. He was making a point like because I think it's chronological. And I think there's a minimum 7 years before the actual 7-year tribulation. And I use the typology of Noah's Ark and closing the door. The rain didn't come for 7. And I use because all the 40s. It's because when the rapture happens, the church is taken out. The Holy Spirit's not indwelling the church anymore, and he's not dealing with Gentiles anymore. He goes back and he starts dealing with the Jews. And every time you look at the history of the Old Testament and the history of how God deals with the Jews, it's always a 40-year thing. 40 days, 40 years. So for me, I feel like, how long? What would it do to take people to forget the rapture? And these crazy people are dead, and the people are gone, and to forget everything. I don't know. I think there's 40 years. I've never heard anybody ever say that. Maybe I'm crazy, and maybe the rapture happens. The 7 years happen a month after the rapture. I don't see it. Just logically, I don't see minimum 7 years. But all this takes place, and I don't know. I'm sure there's people that have. I don't know. The sky receded, like a scroll, and rolled up, and every mountain and island. Also, what he said, he goes, every mountain and island was moved. So the other one says they're gone. When he passes I forgot what judgment is, but the mountains are gone. And he read this, and he said that's the same event. And I'm like, oh, and I was at work, and I was listening to it. I was like, what? So I went back and read it. Remember, don't believe everything I say. Read the scriptures daily to find out if it's true or not. So I went back and read it, and it says, when the scrolls receded, and the sky receded as the scroll was rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place. Not gone forever, removed out of its place. So it's not the same event. Later on, we'll see all the mountains are gone. Verse 15, and the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave, every free man, hid themselves in the caves and the rocks and the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand? So maybe when the sky recedes like a scroll, maybe the people on the earth, and this just came to me, and I probably read this 100 times, maybe God is revealing himself on the throne, and the people on the earth can actually see God on the throne, because they say, and they're asking, this event is so horrible. They literally, do you know that almost every modern nation in the world has tunnels all throughout their country, underground, like cities, freeways. America's got like 130 bases and super freeways that can, and trains under our country that can take them all over our country, and it's all over the world, because these people that find these things. Well, anyway, I don't want to get into that. She has a huge whole story, but anyways, they believe that something major is going to happen, not God-wise. They believe it's like this planet's going to come and literally like the debris of it's going to fall on the earth, and they're going to try to survive, or they think they're going to survive a nuclear war, and they know maybe a nuclear war is inevitable, and they're going to. But this is not a nuclear war, because the people are literally all saying, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand? So yeah, maybe the heavens are rolled back, and you can see the throne of God, and they know that God's judging them. Boom. Never thought of that, but it just popped in my head. So maybe the Holy Spirit is revealing it too. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know. But anyways, people try to say there's these riders on the horses, the antichrist, and all that. He's not on the scene, because when he's on the scene, they say, who is able to withstand this guy? I mean, this guy, whatever he does, rises up, and the world's going to say, who's going to be able to withstand this guy? He's God, and they're going to worship him, and they're going to take his mark and his image and his name. I mean, so he obviously is not on the scene at this time, because they're saying they know that the wrath of God and the Father is judging them, and they want the rocks to fall on them. So the Antichrist is not in the picture yet. So the 10 kings aren't here. The mark of the beast isn't here yet. The beast isn't here. All the things let's talk about later on isn't here yet. And people try to say this is all happening in this 7-year period. Come on, logically, no. I don't hear, and I listen to a lot of people teach the book of Revelation, and you get tossed in to and fro on it because there's so many different things. But I mean, just read it. The people on the earth right now, after all this madness of these horsemen and these sealed judgments, they're saying that they know that God is judging them. But later on, you're going to see, all of a sudden the world is good, and people are marrying and all this, and Israel, the walls are down, and they feel like they're at peace, and they don't think nobody hates them anymore, and these 10, I believe, are like a part of this angelic realm, these 10 kings, that are going to rise up off this. There's these images that this dragon with the 10 heads, and the dragon is obviously Satan, and I think it's going to be the seed of Satan, and these people are going to reign and rule on the earth, and the world's going to go, oh, these guys are gods. And right now they're not saying that, so they're not here. So that's chapter 6 in the book of Revelation, and I remember I told you it's chronological, but he'll stop, give you a breather, and he'll give you like some information, and then he'll go back to, okay, now we're going to go back to these judgments, and we're going to go back, so like chapter 7 is like an overview. So, I'll read next Tuesday, I'll read chapter 7. But basically, he's sealing the 12 tribes of Israel, and he got these groups out there saying that they're 144,000. They're obviously not, because he clearly says it's the 12 tribes I heard the number of those who sealed 144,000, all the tribes of the children of Israel, and he literally goes into each tribe and says the tribe of Judah 12,000, the tribe of Reuben 12,000. So clearly, he's sealing these Jews, and he knows who they are, and the 12 tribes aren't lost, and then the promises to the Jews are still legit and still going to happen. The church didn't, Jews killed Christ, and all the promises are on the church now. The church, the replacement theology of these Christians are teaching that the Jews are gone, and it's not even the real Jews in Israel. Well, God knows exactly who his people are, and he's going to seal them. And this part, at this time, he says he's going to seal them, and then you're going to see another great multitude at the throne room. And this was, who asked him? All the angels stood around the throne, elders, and one of the elders. So there's 24 elders. One of the elders asked John, "Who are these guys?" And he's like, And he says it's the ones that died during the Great Tribulation. So it's like the beginning of the 7-year, all the way to the end. He's like here's a little overview. So it's like John's like, he sees all this and blah, blah, and he goes back. He's like, whew, and then he sees this and like, who's this? Remember, he's writing down what he's seen. Then he's going to come back in chapter 8, and the 7th seal is open, and we're going to continue with the story. So, I don't think I'm going to get into the book of Luke today. So, but that was some serious meat there. I hope you enjoyed it. I love the book of Revelation, and I'm telling you, man, this time is just, I don't know. I guess I like, I'm doing this a little meat thing here during this, because just to sit down and do an outline and try to type out all the stuff that what I'm saying right now, it takes a lot of time, man. Whew. Anyways, this is like, I don't know. I remember they'll give you a little something I see. Like I told you, be able to discern good from evil, and I seen when October 7th happened, and they. These evil, demonic, demon-possessed men crossed the border and butchered babies and cut their heads off in front of their mothers, or cut the babies out of the wombs and raped and killed and raped women so bad their pelvic bones were broken. And you know, and I don't know, it talks about later that when this stuff takes place, it's going to be worse than what mankind has ever seen in the history of mankind. That's what's coming. And that's like a little prelude to it, what's going to take place, this hatred. Anyways, I remember, like, after it happened, these people were like, you know, getting ripped off and blinded by these demonic teachers, or blinded teachers, I don't know, but they're definitely being led astray. And they're like, oh, I think I'm going to start reading the Quran. So spiritual. Have you ever read the Quran? I had a guy I worked with at Toyota. He gave me a Quran, and I started reading it. It is a mess. It's a mess. It is all over the place. And I know, you know, like the Muhammad that wrote it is literally they follow this guy around. He'd have an epileptic seizure, and they would write down what he was saying when he was having this epileptic. I can't even say it. Anyways, was probably being, you know, possessed by Satan, that was given these things to say, and he just wrote it down. You know, and it's all over the place. I mean, the Bible, these 66 books that was written in over 2,000 years, or around 2,000 years, by 40 different authors in 3 different languages, all intertwined. You got the beginning, Genesis, the book of Revelation, what's going to happen at the end. It's coherent. It's the Word of God. The Quran is chaos. It is all over the place. I mean, there is no beginning and end. And it's like, I think when he first started writing, he was, I don't know if he went to the Jews first or the Christians first, but he was trying to say, I'm a new prophet. And the Jews scoffed him off, so he started writing things bad about the Jews. And then the Christians scoffed him off and said he wasn't a prophet or an apostle or whatever he called himself. So then, you got the, like, he's pro-Jew, and then he's pro-Christian. You know, some of this stuff in the Quran is not a lot. And then they both rejected him, so I'm Muhammad, the moon god. And he started everything. It was, infidels, and they're going to kill, and, and it's okay to lie. And it's chaos. So these people are, these poor oppressed people. They're not oppressed. And that was, I don't even want to go into that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for coming to Misfit Island. Didn't mean to get in that little tangent there, but if you think the Quran is going to give you truth, good luck. So, yes, if you got some loved ones out there, you like, subscribe, and share this channel. And pray. And we'll come back on Hump Day Wednesday. Try to get a little bit of meat and a little bit of milk to get us over that hump. So thanks for joining, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.